Hello, my name is Susan Harding, and welcome to another episode of City Issues. Today we're going to talk about the no parking and restricted parking areas in the city of Frederick. Today I have with us Zach Kershner, our Director of Public Works, and Randy McClement, Mayor of the city of Frederick. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thanks for having us here again. Zach, thanks for participating once again.
Thank you.
This is a topic that has come up off and on, mostly during the time when we have snow outside. But it does happen during the spring and summer months as well. And this is what I think is a great opportunity to be able to explain to our citizens the actual reason for this and get a little background in history. So we have some questions for you, Zach.
Okay.
Zach, what is the purpose of the no parking or the restricted parking signs you see in the city of Frederick?
The purpose is for street maintenance, so our DPW folks can get out there and perform necessary maintenance. That maintenance may include line striping, may include snow removal, street sweeping, which is actually mandated under our stormwater ordinance, leaf removal, and other pre-construction prep work.
Now, is there a method to deciding where these areas are established?
Yes, we have worked with the residents over time to try to establish the areas so that they provide the least amount of inconvenience for our residents. A couple of years back, we did make some changes, heading in that direction. We went from signing both sides of the street, no parking on the same nights, to flip-flopping throughout the week to at least provide some parking at any given night on a street.
Okay, and I know that, like the mayor was saying, this particularly comes up during our snow events.
Yes, yes. The questions do seem to come up then, and that is actually one of the times when we really most need the residents to obey those no parking signs. Case in point, one of the events this past year, we ended up hauling snow out of the downtown area. Once we get more than 5-6 inches, we end up in a situation where you really can't push it anywhere else, and we do need to be able to get in there and clear those parking spaces. So we try to take advantage of when those restrictions are in place and get in there at those times.
Now, what are the options for residents and visitors when we have a snow event? What are the other parking options?
Well, first of all, certainly if you already have off-street parking at your residence, if you have a driveway, if you have a garage, we certainly encourage you to use that and to get your car off the street so that we can clear. Our goal is curb to curb. If you do not have off-street parking, all of the city garages are available. At the current parking rates. Residents can visit the City of Frederick parking website to see those rates and those garage locations, and those are available at all times.
Let me jump in here real quick, and where we're talking about this, there's this preconceived notion that when we call a snow emergency, that the parking garages are automatically open and free, and that's not the case. We have done that in the past, most notably during the blizzard when we have 53 inches of snow. We had to move people off the street, and we just didn't think it was fair for an extended period of time to make them go into parking garages. So those are very extreme circumstances. So I sort of want to clear up the misnomer. There is no, when a snow emergency is called, the parking garages are open. But the main thing that I also want to bring up is, as Zach said, is there's that opportunity. If the cars are parked there, there is not that opportunity. And the bad thing about snow is it's not predictable, and our snow guys cannot be predicted when they're going to be in a place. So you may find that one night you've been asked to move off, and we haven't been able to reach that part of the area of the city. And all we ask is for your patience to make sure that you continue following those rules, and we will get there as fast as we can. And try not to be upset if you have to move one night and it didn't make it. We'll get it the next time. We want to make sure people understand we are doing our utmost best to be as convenient as possible, but they need to participate to make it the system work as well as it can.
And Mayor, can you explain why the option to open the decks for free parking is not in the best
Sure.
interest of everyone?
The people who use the parking decks and the meters pay for the parking decks and the meters. It doesn't come out of your general fund tax dollars. So we have people who have rented spaces at $90-some a month, and all of a sudden we opened up the decks. The people maybe on their way home, all these other people here shoved into the decks, and now they've paid $97 or whatever a month, and they have no place to park. And it's not just individuals. We have relationships with the county because they helped to build one of the decks. They get a certain number of spaces in the Court Street deck. If they're up and running, they're expecting their employees to be able to park. If we have all of our citizens in there, that's not good either. So, and the two decks that usually won't be full, they're not the most convenient to especially the downtown residents. There will be some walking factor. So it's a number of reasons, but the main one really is it's an enterprise fund. People pay to be in those spots, not out of tax dollars.
And to park in the parking deck during a snow event, even when normal parking rates apply, our parking rates in the city decks are, I feel, very affordable. A lot of people may or may not know, for 10 years I lived downtown on a street that had absolutely no parking associated with it, none, not even in front of my house. I had to go a block left or right of my house. Whenever it snowed, I went down there, and that's what I did. I parked there. In the deck?
In the deck. I parked in one of the decks. My car was nice and clean the next day. It wasn't, it was easier to warm up. So there's a lot of advantages to doing it, but for a one night parking max of $13, it's not that bad.
And another thing, getting back to the restricted and no parking areas, during the summer or during the winter, well, year round, I may get phone calls saying, it wasn't street sweeping night, but I got a ticket because I parked in a restricted parking area. Can you explain, Zach, a little bit more about why that's always restricted parking? It isn't just on certain nights.
Sure. It's always restricted so that we can perform whatever street maintenance we may need to perform at those given times. That gives us predictability. That's the piece that we need so that we can then schedule our people and equipment to do what needs to be done. Street sweeping is a large component. We utilize those restricted areas most of the time in order to perform street sweeping, but we may well utilize them for other things.
Right. I see tree trimming.
Yes.
And different things in my neighborhood.
Or, even if we know a contractor is going to be coming in early in the morning to do some curb and gutter work or tree trimming, they may need to get in there at the end of that no parking period early in the morning and get set up and parked and ready so they can start work.
All right. And Mayor, also, we have our own city snow emergency plan. The state has one, and the county has one. When do you decide to implement the city snow emergency plan, which is totally independent of the other snow emergency plans?
There'll be times when the state actually calls snow emergency for the county, and there'll be times when they're in snow emergency and we're not. Some of the examples I can give you, it could be snowing to get all out up in the north in the Thurmont and in the Catoctin area, and here in the city of Frederick we haven't seen a flake. So I'm not calling a snow emergency because the state has or the county has. Snow emergency is usually not called unless we have 2 or more inches of snow. The snow emergency really is in effect to get people off of the snow emergency routes because there's parking available on a regular basis on snow emergency routes. We need those cars off. So we try to give everybody fair due notice because those are the first roads that the crews work on and continually work on until mostly the snow stops. But if we need to plow, we've got to have those spaces cleared. So to say when do I do it, it's really dependent upon every single scenario. Now I work in conjunction with the Department of Public Works, with the police department, myself. We get up, we make an assessment. The street crews are out looking, telling me what they're seeing, talking to the police if they've seen anything, and then I make the decision based on the information I've gathered as to if and when we put in snow emergency.
And I get a text, that's early, around 4 o'clock, I'll get a text from the mayor. I'm speaking with Zach, we're speaking with the chief, we're talking about what we're going to do, and then we get the information out very quickly.
Yes, we do.
And it's quick, and we get it, you can find it on our city website, Facebook, Twitter, Channel 99, and also for those citizens that sign up for Alert Frederick County, they will get a text straight to their phone or their computer. So is there any, and radio, television?
Right.
Yeah, we contact as many media outlets as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, Zach, is there anything else you want to add to this discussion concerning the restricted parking?
One of the things that you mentioned, or the mayor mentioned, that I think is important to recognize as a resident is if you do take advantage of our parking decks during a snow event, obviously you're not going to have to clean off your car. You're not risking the potential of your car getting damaged on the street. And what it does for us is the more that the street is opened up for us, the more likely it is that we can push that snow curb to curb and get those parking spaces and drive aisles open quicker, more efficiently, more effectively. So it does really help us to do our job if residents can get their vehicles off the streets.
And we have 5 very conveniently located parking decks in downtown
Yes.
Frederick.
Yes.
Handicap areas as well,
Yes.
and the parking decks designated handicap areas. And a map can be found on the city website designating the snow emergency routes, the parking deck maps, and any other information you want to know.
Very good.
Well, thank you, Zach, for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you for joining us today with our episode of City Issues.